you know, and he's told you guys that, you know, he's suffered a few injuries, you know, in these fights recently, which again, I know firsthand when you're an elite fighter, you fight through it, and you know, Floyd's been injured in several fights, you know, but you fight through it, and you know, it don't always be your best performance, and you don't want to make excuses, and he's not a guy obviously to make excuses. In Charlo's case, the same way, you know, he's been off for a minute with the broken hand, but he's the underdog coming in, and he's just like, y'all discounting him, y'all think he's some kind of chump, and Charlo is coming. I'm telling you, he's coming. He's prepared. Derek has got him ready. Both guys in 15-round shape. It's gonna be a great fight.
Now, what do you make of people saying that Canelo is sort of on the decline at this stage?
I think they're crazy. I'm just saying, because I know firsthand with being close to the best guy ever to do it. It's like the injuries that people go through at this level, because they put so much into these training camps to prepare, you know, to separate themselves from the competition, and it's a commitment. And sometimes you get injured and you don't want to pull out of a fight. And you know, he says that he's suffered some injuries in some of these recent fights, and he's fought through it, and he went and got surgery. And again, who am I to say that I don't believe him? Yeah. So, but one thing's for sure, we're gonna find out Saturday night. We're gonna find out Saturday night.
Whoever wins this fight, the rumors about.
Well, the timing is everything. Timing is everything. Fight. You know, Jermell said that he was promised this fight 10 years ago. He said Oscar told him that he was gonna fight him 10 years ago. And obviously, for whatever reason, the fight never came to fruition. But what better time than now? But he's been open about it privately, about that he's been wanting this fight for quite some time. Because you got to remember, at one point, both of those guys were at 54. Both of those guys were at 54. Canelo's grown into what he is now, and Jermell's still been at 54. But I think people are making more out of it with this moving up in weight classes. I think, this is my personal opinion, and I have the expertise in this part, is that watching a guy like Floyd Mayweather come up, especially when he starts fighting at 47, to be able to walk around comfortably at the weight that you got to fight around, that's everything. I'm telling you, because Floyd Mayweather is one of the strongest dudes I've ever tussled with. You know what I mean? And he's rock solid. So I think people think that's a disadvantage for Jermell, but I think it's actually an advantage for him. Now, the flip side to it is that he's in there with a straight cold killer and Canelo. So again, it's that both guys know that they got their hands full. That's what's going to make for a great fight.
Leonard, this fight, is that the new number one pound-for-pound fight in the world?
That was, you know, Bud did his thing, man. I'm not gonna take anything away. Let's just enjoy this.
Okay.
Before we get to moving ahead and saying that this guy's number one, because we don't know what's gonna happen Saturday night.
Okay.
Because both guys are hungry, and they both are prepared, and I think they're gonna give the fans a great fight.
And you have been part of, you and Floyd have been part of three of the biggest fighters in boxing history. Floyd himself, Tank Davis today's time, and you had a hand in Canelo Alvarez. What is the process?
No, I didn't have no hand in Canelo Alvarez. I can't take credit for that, but really Tank Davis and Floyd Mayweather, 1,000%. 1,000%.
What goes into that process to making these guys? They're not superstars. They are exceeding the sport of boxing now. They're crossing over into a different atmosphere. What goes into that process?
Man, and that's why I commend Eddie. He's done, and I'm open about it. I'm always gonna give credit where credit's due. That man has done a phenomenal job with navigating his career. Think about this, man. Like I said, this dude made $200 million. He made $200 million, and I'm sure that he's been speaking English for quite some time, but he's fluent with it now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, and it's like now, it's like even people from our culture They got a lot of respect for him. They got because he talked that talk when he needs to, and then there's just like, oh, we like for him to talk more. So he's figured it out, and he's mastered it, you know, and that's why he's been able to work with different entities, and he's been able to extract the most money that he possibly can, and that's why you can't say enough of giving Eddie the credit. Like, that's a masterful job that he's done, because again, it's like he's 33 years old, he's made a couple $100 million, and you know, boxing, he still loves boxing, I'm sure, but it's his job. It's his job, and you know, he has so many other interests outside of boxing that he's been successful in. You know, he's a great golfer, you know, but it's lots of respect. But I still think there are a couple things that Canelo wants to accomplish in his career, and this is probably going to surprise you guys. It's like, so I was kind of doing some homework, and it was like, so Floyd has defeated 23 world champions, current or former. Canelo's at 18. So I think in the back of his mind, he might not have said this, that might be something, you know, short term, when I say I don't know how he could, you know, but he's got his hands full Saturday night. But I mean, you know, that's something that it's not impossible that he can attain.
Leonard Ellerbe.
You know what I mean? So imagine that if he sets his goal, if he's successful Saturday night, and that's if he's successful, he will be at 19. You know what I mean? And so just imagine that's, and obviously, you know, those two fought and they did what they did. He, you know, it's no secret that Floyd's the best. You know, but again, I think that milestone is something that, you know, that a feather in his cap, that's something that he would want to go down in history as defeated more world champions than anybody in the history of boxing.